there was a tweet that said, light-skinned T'Challa with green eyes, I think the F not. So it's interesting that when it comes to Black men representation, they can notice that the eyes are green, the skin is light, and this person is too light to be playing a dark-skinned role. But when it comes to Blackness, we have to accept anyone who is slightly tanned or beige as a representation of Blackness. But when you are a fully Black woman, you are erased from even being in the arena because pop culture rewards whiteness and lightness. You know, people don't want to look at it from a systemic perspective, and people want to act obtuse, and people want to focus more on like, oh, you're taking away someone's Blackness, and not focusing on the fact that Black erasure is very much so real. And if we keep calling people who are half Black or who do not present as Black in this world Black, we are going to continue to see ourselves completely removed from our own narrative.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's World. Hi y'all, welcome to Mayowa's World. My name is Mayowa, and on my platform I talk about colorism, featureism, texturism, and Black erasure. So today we're gonna be talking about colorism and Black erasure and the mixed racification of R&B. Before I continue, I want to promote my Patreon where I talk about personal issues and I do early release videos. So if you're a part of my Patreon, I'm very thankful. And if you haven't joined, you should join. Also, this video recommendation comes from Julius Steve because I wrote in my YouTube community section on what topics you want to see. So thank you, Julius, and please check out his channel. I really enjoy his YouTube videos. So when it comes to colorism and Black erasure, this isn't just something that happens in the US. This is actually a global issue, and somewhere that I am very interested in observing is the United Kingdom or the UK. So I'm going to draw parallels between the US and how Black erasure is existing here compared to the UK. And we're going to be talking about the Grammys award and R&B music in general. So colorism is a discrimination of dark-skinned people, and over the years you can see that in Hollywood, Black women happen to just keep getting lighter and lighter and whiter and whiter, to the point where it's very hard to see monoracially Black people. And I actually even have issues with the word monoracially Black because I feel like Blackness should be able to stand on its own, but we've had to create a new title simply because of the erasure of people who are phenotypically read as Black in all circumstances. And this is also a very gendered discussion because Black women are more susceptible to Black erasure than Black men. And it's because of how we see femininity and how we think that femininity is really owned by whiteness. We believe that femininity is going to come in the lightest possible form. When we think of masculinity, we often think of dark-skinned people or Black people. So the reason it's like that is because Blackness is masculinized. So the darker you are, the more masculine people see you in society, and the lighter you are, the more feminine you are perceived in society. These are not my beliefs. This is just structurally how these things work. So when it comes to Black women, there's going to be a higher chance of Black women being erased simply because being Black is seen as innately masculine, and the darker you are, the more masculine you're perceived. And I think a perfect example of this was when I found out about the Brit Awards. And through seeing the R&B section of the Brit Awards, it made me ask, is the UK allergic to Black women? Because when you see the lineup, there is not a Black person in sight. There are a lot of mixed race people, there are a lot of white people, but there is no Black person in sight. There is no Black woman in sight, which is ironic because R&B is a Black genre that was created in America. It is an African-American Black genre. So when I see the Brit Awards and I don't see a single Black woman, I just think, what's going on? And this also led to a very annoying discourse where people were like, well, this person's half Black and this person's half Black and this person's half Black. And that does not mean that person is Black. And this is a perfect example as to prove why that is a lazy response. Because if these people are all Black, why does it exclude people who are phenotypically read as Black? And I know some people get their feelings hurt because they're like, oh, you're erasing the fact that biracial people are half Black. And I'm like, no, I can acknowledge that they are half Black, but they should also be able to acknowledge that people who are always read as Black are actively being erased from a lot of things in society. And when I counted the Brit Awards, there was only one Black woman that was nominated, and that is Lil Sims. If people want to keep saying that mixed race people are Black, this is a way to easily discredit the fact that Black people are actually kept out of these things, and mixed race and white people are who is desired within pop culture. And this isn't just English problem, this also is an issue in the US, but I just think the Brit Awards really exacerbated that more to me because I'm just like, that is such an abstraction from my lived reality. I listen to a lot of Black British R&B artists, so the fact that like none of them are mentioned really blew my mind. Like, and then I also kind of noticed some discourse happening in the US when it came to the Grammys, and with an artist called Olivia Dean. One of them being a tweet that I saw that says, Olivia Dean might be the first ever artist to be hated for being too classy. And there were a lot of other comments saying that Olivia Dean is a good Black woman representation and that's why people don't like her. And I just think that the fact that people are so quick to call her classy is linked to the fact that she is half white. And the fact that people are saying that, oh, R&B is not classy, I'm like so confused by who they think that they're talking to. Like, who's the trashy elements in R&B? Like, who are we thinking of? Because I just think that white women are seen as more feminine. So when they are doing that pinup look, when they are doing that 1960s Motown look, it's gonna be seen as a more feminine, classy thing. And that's exactly what they're playing into. That's why a lot of these mixed race artists and stuff in the UK will dress up in these 1960s style because it's seen as like bringing back this old school kind of music. But I don't think that same visual or imagery would be eaten up the same way if a fully Black person was to do that. I think that it's like leaning into like, I don't know, it's like leaning into like a nostalgia and a time where class and grace and all these things was at the forefront of Motown music. Oh yeah, and Ray. Yeah, too, and the Ray girl also falls into the same category as well of racially ambiguous R&B, and people once again want to call her Black, and it's like, be serious, you know? And I'm not saying I don't like her music, but I'm just saying language matters and erasure is real. And if we really want to pour into Black women, we will actually speak to what a Black woman is. And as somebody who is intentionally gate-kept out of these things, and within the Black spectrum, dark-skinned women are even more gate-kept out. And you know, within dark-skin, deep dark-skinned girls, people who are Doechie's color, people who are Bree Runway's color, those girls have it even harder, you know? So it's just so important to really uplift the most marginalized, complexion-wise, size-wise, class-wise, all those things, and really put our eyes on these people because they're not going to be given the same opportunities as white people or racially ambiguous people. I just noticed how it's so gendered because a lot of people are so comfortable to call Olivia Dean Black even though she is half Caribbean, half white. I remember when there was a lot of conversation around Aaron Pierre playing T'Challa in Black Panther. There was a tweet that said, light-skinned T'Challa with green eyes, I think the F not. So it's interesting that when it comes to Black men representation, they can notice that the eyes are green, the skin is light, and this person is too light to be playing a dark-skinned role. But when it comes to Blackness, we have to accept anyone who is slightly tanned or beige as a representation of Blackness. But when you are a fully Black woman, you are erased from even being in the arena because pop culture rewards whiteness and lightness. And so then when we say it, it's somehow seen as like bitter or like being upset about it because I feel like people are like, oh, why does Olivia Dean get all this hate and hate and hate? She's not getting hate. I'm not talking about her as a person. I'm talking about how she's positioned. I'm talking about the fact that because she's mixed race, this is the example of Black artistry for women that we want to accept. That is the problem. And Black men are not being erased to the same degree as Black women are. It also just gets to a point where you become so used to this, you become so used to mixed race people as a representation of Blackness that you just start grasping onto straws that don't even exist. I saw a tweet that was saying they're happy for Lola and Olivia because they're both Jamaican. And they're like, oh, that's so exciting, like Jamaicans are winning. Lola is a white woman. Sure, she could be mixed with mixed half Chinese Jamaican, but Chinese Jamaican doesn't mean Black. And that to me, it's like saying like, oh, I'm so glad that Sabrina Carpenter won because we're both Americans. Like, the big win for the American girls. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it is so bad that we're like rooting for non-Black Caribbean people as a form of representation. Like, same thing with like Central C, right? Like, just this idea that, oh, at least they're Jamaican, like I'm holding on for something. And it's like, what about the Black Jamaican artists who try so hard every year and are intentionally gate-kept out of music, right? What about those people? And even within the US and the Grammys going to Kehlani and how Kehlani has been able to have a very extensive career in R&B and pop culture, I am fully aware that colorism was one of the leading factors that played into her success. I'm not saying that her music is not good, but we can also acknowledge that her being racially ambiguous very, very much so helped her. You know, and all of these people have something in common, which is like, it's very important for them in their career to make it seem as if they have more, like they have a lot of Black roots and like play into the Black roots in the beginning and then just kind of be able to be more ambiguous later on, because Kehlani is also the same person who has a song called The N-Word. Like the N-Word was literally the song, and she's somebody who does not look Black. So they all are kind of playing into like that, and I think that that is what allows people to keep rooting for them, because in your mind you're like, well, this is a Black woman, so like we have to root for her, and then you don't end up pouring into the actual Black women who are doing the work and trying very hard to have these careers. And I just also noticed that how like these people are very much so enjoyed in pop culture and in R&B, but then people like Doechii are called industry plants. People like Doechii are called annoying. And it's just so wild to me that the only time we've ever seen like a dark-skinned artist, not only time, but a rare time we've seen a dark-skinned pop artist, suddenly she's an industry plant, as if they hand out industry plants to dark-skinned people, as if her music isn't very fantastic. And I don't know, it just kind of feels upsetting, because I just feel like, you know, people don't want to look at it and from a systemic perspective, and people want to act obtuse, and people want to focus more on like, oh, you're taking away someone's Blackness, and not focusing on the fact that Black erasure is very much so real. And if we keep calling people who are half Black or who do not present as Black in this world Black, we are going to continue to see ourselves completely removed from our own narrative. So people are saying to me like, but K1 is like mixed with Nigerian, and it's like, once again, being mixed with Nigerian doesn't mean you are a Black Nigerian person. And like, I just want us to free ourselves from being like, well, this person's mixed with this person. What about the actual Black women who make music? Like, and I'm just gonna name some of my favorite Black British artists to put y'all on. And if y'all have more who I'm forgetting, put them in the comments. But I love, when it comes to R&B, I love Ray Black, I love Neo, I love Hamza, I love Tiana Major, I love Shay's Universe. There is, and that's just like R&B. Other artists who I love Bree Runway, pop. If you're a pop person, I love Bree Runway. I love IVD, drill music. And there's more, and so like, once again, if there are more Black British artists who you're noticing, please let me know in the comments. And if there's other Black British artists who you feel like I should be putting on or we should listen to, please put them in the comments. But I do think there's like a similarity between the erasure that's happening globally and what I'm seeing in the US and the UK. And yeah. The last time I was seeing like a Black British girlie really do it was Estelle with American Boy, but like, that's like coming up to 15 years ago. That's coming up to 15 years ago. Y'all do not want the Black girls to reach the US. And that's ironic because so many US girls still listen to Black British artists, but y'all don't want to put the funds into backing them. So many of them are independent. Okay, yeah, and if you made it to the end, tell me what you like. Yo, I was going for a very metallic makeup look. Metallic and yellow. This is a dress I got in Nigeria. It has like combs on it and stuff like this. Which is ironic because I don't use combs, but you know, shout out to Africa. Yeah, shout out to the girls who do use combs. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.